Hi, I'm Corey from ID Parts, and in this video, I'll be doing an oil change on this 2014 Audi Q5 TDI. It's gonna be roughly the same procedure for most of the Audi V6 3.0 TDI diesels, including the Q5, A6, A7. They all use the same CPNB 3.0 liter V6 TDI. And the most important thing when you're doing an oil change on any of the Volkswagen common rails is that you get an oil that has this 504, 507 specification. That's the important thing. That's going to ensure that the engine has the right protection and that the additive package doesn't do damage to the DPF. Now, we also have an oil filter, this time from Hengst. Hengst is an OE supplier to Volkswagen, Mercedes, BMW, basically all the main manufacturers. Your oil filter kit should also come with a new O-ring for the canister top. What's somewhat unique about these 3-liter diesels is that they use a drain plug seal that is actually hollow on the inside. I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but you can see a little seam on one side of the seal, indicating that it's not one solid piece. Now, these are going to crush more easily than a solid like copper seal. This is aluminum, so it's going to crush and it's going to seal with less force required. So if you're doing this change, you definitely want to replace this because once you squeeze the seal, it's not going to be able to squeeze again. First things first, we're going to pop the hood using this lever right here. They're going to open the hood. Engine cover simply pops right off. There are no screws, thumb screws or any sort. And the oil filter is located right in front here. Very easy to locate. So just like the 2-liter common rail TDIs, this will require a 32mm filter wrench to get the cap off. I always recommend doing the oil filter first on engines that have a canister filter because it's going to allow the oil to drain out much faster. It prevents the suction from really slowing down the oil drain. As for getting the oil out, you actually have two options here. I showed you the drain plug seal early in the video, and you'll need that if you're going to do a traditional bottom side oil change. But this Audi Q5 TDI is actually a really good candidate for top side oil changes with an oil extractor. If you've seen my previous videos on oil changes, you'll know I'm a big fan of oil extractors. I think they're cleaner, they're certainly safer, and they can be a little bit quicker too. So on this model where the fuel or the oil filter is located on the top of the engine, it's really easy to do the oil change with an oil extractor. Even though the engine doesn't have a traditional dipstick, it does have the dipstick tube. And that little cap there is where the dipstick would normally go. And you can take that cap off and insert your oil extractor hose right down that tube. We've got our oil extractor and it's going right into the oil dipstick tube. Now we're going to pump up the oil extractor, get it back to green. We'll check back in on this in just a few minutes. If you're going to do the traditional bottom style method, you got to take off the belly pan first. It's a bunch of torque screws. Get yourself a power drill, makes it a lot faster. That's another reason why I like the top side oil changes. You don't have to deal with these crazy belly pans. Drain plug is right here. And we're looking for a 6mm Allen head. While the oil is draining or being extracted, it's a good time to take care of the oil filter. Take the oil filter out, you just pop it off the spindle that's inside the housing there. Takes a little bit of force. And you take a pick tool, just get the old O-ring out of there. Slide the new O-ring on. Now, it's always important with these O-rings to get a little bit of oil on them, just so that they don't bind up when you put them back in the housing. There's a new oil filter from Hengst with a little spindle there. Pops right on and it'll go on with a click. When you're reinstalling the oil filter, it's important that you note where that little spindle goes. It's in that bottom right-hand corner there. And you line up the filter with that spindle. After you get the oil filter lined up, you can tighten it down with your 32mm oil filter wrench. Torque spec on this, as I mentioned earlier, is low, 18 foot-pounds, so you really just need it snug. That O-ring is going to do all that sealing for you. Final step, of course, is to refill with oil. Total capacity is 6.4 liters. So I'm going to fill it with 6 liters and then check the oil level to see where I am, and then I can top off if necessary. Now we'll go inside the car to check the oil level and reset the oil service indicator light. Now to check the oil level in these Audi TDIs without a dipstick, you'll actually have to go to the MMI controls here, click on car, come back to your screen, and you'll rotate until you go to servicing and checks. Press your center button, and obviously there's going to be one for oil level. Click on that. We let the car run for a while, and then we let it sit for 2 minutes, and we got this display on the dashboard here showing that our oil level is pretty much perfect. Now in this Audi there are actually 2 different service intervals. The first one is the oil change interval, which can be easily reset by clicking car, then selecting servicing and checks, scrolling down to service intervals. I've already reset this, but scroll down and just click on reset oil change interval and confirm by clicking yes. Now the other one is the inspection interval, and that will require VCDS to perform. We got the oil level where we want it, and we got the oil mileage reset. So we are all done. Thanks for watching this video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel to get all my new diesel videos in your inbox.